Hey, this is Mr. Bill. Thanks for watching my channel. Today I'm going to be working on my Jeep. It's a 2000 TJ. When I went to replace the bottom hinge, the top one's new, and I went to replace the bottom hinge. First of all, there's a plate inside here and that slipped down, so I need to come up underneath to grab it. But as I was poking around, this has been exposed to the elements for a month or so, but there was a previous patch I did here. I think I just filled it with body putty. I'm going to find out here shortly. I'm going to grind out, try to make a perfect rectangle. So let me get into that and see what's going on here. Okay, so I had to take the tail light out. It was in the way. This is my initial cut, some sort of bracing under here. So I got the old piece cut out. I'm grinding. It's very low all the way around here, so I may make this square bigger so I don't have to use so much body filler, but I'm gonna see, get the rest of this putty off, see what's straight, what's low. Okay, so the sheet metal's cut out. I went bigger than I needed to because there were some low spots because of some spot welds that I had to grind out of there. Behind there's some type of brace that runs all the way across to the other side. And it ends right about there and curves around. So I did cut into it as I wasn't sure what was behind the sheet metal, but not a big deal. So it's all cleaned up. Have my buddy make me a patch and have him tack it in place or weld it in place, and I can finish it off. Okay, so I avoided having to buy a welder. Now's not a good time for me. My buddy Tony at TNT Welding, he welded in a patch for me. I'm in the process of removing the rest of the stuff that's on this tailgate. There was hockey puck rubber things on here to protect the tailgate from when the spare tires are in place. And then I'll have to disconnect the wiring, and I think 4 bolts hold this on. And I believe last time I spliced the wiring in up above here where you can't see. So I'm in the process of taking this out. I needed to use screwdrivers to pry this out. And it looks like it disconnects here. For some reason I thought I spliced underneath here. But, figure out how to get this off next. Okay, so the light bulb just twisted out of the housing, and I pulled back the loom, and this is where I spliced in before. So I'll disconnect them here, then this part can stay with this part, and then this part can just be fished out of here and just get hung there for now. Okay, so the wiring's disconnected. Left with just this. This is going to have to get fed up through there once I take this protector off. These are all 13 millimeter. There's 1, 2, 3. The 4th one's up here, real tight, so this has to come off first. Okay, so everything is removed. This metal bracket has kind of tape stuff, I guess, to kind of protect the metal on metal. I think I can reuse these or figure something else out in its place. I have to clean up all these bolts because okay, so everything's off. I'll clean up these bolts. Some of these I need to replace. Those torque bits, I'm just going to replace them with something simpler. The metal here and here has this tape on it. This one's kind of ripped. I'll try and reuse it. If not, I can figure out something to use in its place. I guess they don't want metal on metal. This is the new tailgate. I'm gonna sand this. It's primered, but it's got a real shiny finish to it. I'm gonna sand it down with 320, hit it with white primer, and then go ahead and paint it with a rattle can. Okay, so the tailgate I sanded with 320 grit. I wiped it down with this prep all and actually used this paper towel. It's made by Scott. It's called shop towel, and surprisingly there was hardly any, if any, lint at all. Then I'm going to spray it with this white sandable primer. Okay, so that's the primer. I used the whole can. Worked out well with this fan on low, blowing this way. Hardly any overspray in this shop at all. So the tailgate's painted. It turned out pretty good for a rattle can. Would eventually like to upgrade to a spray system. Things are on hold right now, so for now it's good enough. Better than the old one. Okay, so the old tailgate's off. Got some torque screw heads here to take this cover off, and then this mechanism. This is the brake light switch. Get that off, and then this is the wiring coming through down here. Okay, these cover bolts, the torque's 30. I crack them loose with the ratchet, then I'll put my impact gun on here, run these out. A few of these two I believe are holding the lock mechanism in place. Okay, so the cover's off. We've got a disconnect here where the lock mechanism is, and I believe to disconnect where the handle is here. Okay, those two bolt heads are T20, and this is just going to fall right out of place. There's a gasket on there. The new one's chrome, which I don't like the look. I may try and paint it just to see what happens, but I'm probably going to clean and paint this one also. Okay, so I hit the clip out with a hammer and a screwdriver. I needed to wiggle this back and forth a little bit, but it's working its way out. There it goes. I may have to, no, it'll spin out with that on there. I'm not even going to paint that. It looks pretty good. Should it, I guess the orientation doesn't matter. There are some squares on here which will help align it. I guess it'll be up and down like that, like it came out. Okay, so we had a Phillips screw holding this cover in place. There's 3 more screws here, and then we can pop this plug out from below I'll flip it over and do that, and that'll take this brake light switch out. Okay, so on the new tailgate, when I go to put the latch up in place, one of the holes kind of lines up. This one does not, so I need to take out the material, kind of where the blue marker is. Bought this from carparts.com, came from Taiwan. They're not responsive to my emails, so I'll post this as a separate thing on their reviews. But yeah, this one I can kind of, one's close, this one's way off. This reamer to ream out the hole. Okay, so that's the final primer coat. Got things taped off. At some point, this tailgate had, well, obviously the holes patched, but there was some distortion in this, so I straightened that all out. I pounded it out and filled it in. So that's the coat of primer. I'm looking at this little tape line here I might get rid of. I'm going to let that dry and then go ahead and give it a coat of paint. Okay, so that's a nice heavy coat. Getting a good shine. Looks pretty awesome for a spray can. So another issue with this cheap tailgate from carparts.com, who won't return my email or phone calls. There's 4 squares. It's hard to see with the light, but anyhow, I need to use this Dremel and open up each one of those so that the lock mechanism will go in there flush. Okay, so I finally got the lock mechanism in. There's 4 tabs on each side of it, and I had to grind using this Dremel. I had to go back and forth and open up each one of those holes. It took like 40 minutes or so. My next issue is these holes were not lined up, so I opened them up and I was able to get the screws started to hold the mechanism in here, but this is too shallow. It was welded on too high, so it doesn't seat in there properly. I got this tailgate, should have fitted everything before I painted it. Got it from carparts.com, sent them an email, they sent back, give us a call. I called them, was on hold for an hour, and then sent them a few more emails, and they're just not responsive at all. So don't buy from carparts.com. Price was right, but the aggravation, I would have just rather have not had to deal with all this, and I'm still not sure how this is going to work out. Okay, so I pounded on that bracket. I got it to come inward a little bit. I drilled out those holes and I ground that face there, and also took off some of this here. So I got it to go in, but there's still areas around the edge where water is going to get in, so I put this seam sealer around it, and that's my fix. Okay, so the assembly's back in and reconnected. 3 shorter bolts hold this in place, and the other bolts are just for the cover. There's some adjustment to this, so I'll put it where I think it can be, and I can always adjust it on the door. I ended up having to put some seam sealer around this. It wasn't seating 100%, so I don't want water to get down in there, because then it will get down inside this door. And the lock mechanism's back in. I'm going to check that with the key right now. Okay, so the first tailgate bracket's on, and if you look in there, there's one of these in here. The bottom one, when I took the old tailgate off, must have dropped down in there somewhere and then eventually made its way to the pavement. So I picked this one up at a junkyard. Couldn't find anywhere online to buy these. So now I need to fish this up underneath. It goes up here through this wheel well opening here behind the plastic. Okay, so now the third issue with this tailgate that came from overseas, bought on carparts.com. None of these screws want to screw in. I can get maybe a half turn and then it binds up. So now I need to work it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until it basically cuts new threads to where I can actually move it. But I'm spending like 15-20 minutes on each one, and it just should just screw right in. So not sure what the problem is, but they will not get back to me, the place I bought it from, carparts.com. Okay, tailgate's on, locks. It's all lined up. Now I need to put the weather seal around here, put this cover on here. So now this is the fourth problem. This cover screws. This one's not even lined up. I can get one. I can get a couple of them started, but they're super tight. I'm afraid I'm going to break them off, so I'm going to have to work them back and forth again. But yeah, what a hassle. You can see that's all the further it goes in, and then it just binds up. This one I was able to get in all the way after working it back and forth, but shouldn't have to do that. Okay, so I used a little of this oil on each of these bolts. Just kind of worked it back and forth, tight, loosen, 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 tight. So they're all snugged up. I'm not sure why this hole doesn't even come close to being with the hole that's like way up here, but that's good enough. And actually it only took me 20 minutes. I thought I was going to take a lot longer. So the fourth problem with the tailgate. Next I'm going to put the weather strip seal on, and then paint a few more things. So this is the new tailgate seal. I bought it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. It's got the 3M sticky stuff on here, and it has a little plastic, so I think they call them Christmas trees, on this tailgate. Again, this is not drilled out the whole way or the wrong size, but I can't get the tree to go in there, so I'm going to open it up with a drill there and there. Actually, that one looks better. So problem number 5 for this tailgate: reattaching the brake light to the tailgate. 3 screws. These are the only 3 screws that actually screwed in without an issue. And next, this cover goes on. Okay, cover's on. Put in a plug here, a plug here. And then I ran the wires through this grommet here, and then this grommet gets pressed into the door. The seal's on, and it's been closed for a while. It's way better than the old one. Next, I'm going to paint the bracket that holds the spare tire on. Moving quite along, should be done later today. Okay, everything's put back together. Other than the tailgate issues with the threads and all that, I'm pretty happy. There's no more rust spots anywhere. Paint is off a little bit, but again, I'm pretty happy. All I need now is a spare tire, and my brake lights do not work. There's a switch underneath where the pedal is that needs to be replaced. The tailgate I bought for $100 and could have got an OEM one for $400. So I saved $300. It was a lot of aggravation, but I guess in the long run it made sense to go with the cheap tailgate. Maybe if there was a middle of the road in between the two, I would have opted for that. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like. This is Mr. Bill. Thank you.